Hey everybody, how are you doing? What is today? Wednesday, and I am trying something completely new. Of course, you can see I'm in Studio B here, and I wanted to do an episode of the automation show where I covered this. Here, let me show you the overhead cam. You can see this is an IFM AL1302 IO-Link master. Now, we did this, I don't know, a couple months ago for the Rockwell, but they had sent me these along with the encoders and the temperature sensors back, quite a while ago. And I did cover all the devices back then, but they never sponsored a show, an episode of the automation show covering how to integrate this with Siemens. And so I spent a couple hours this morning over coffee trying to figure it out to work before work, and was glad. I think I got it working, but I'm going to try to do this live. Don't know if it's going to work out or not, but I think it will. In any case, I want to say hi to everybody who is watching live. This is Restream, so it's new for me to try to do the live stream here with OBS and all that. At least for a long time, I haven't done it like this. So before we get started, let's go over to the computer here, and yeah, that's the one I want. And I wanted to talk to you about like how do I afford to do things like this? Well, I'm a trainer. I teach online, and so the sponsor for this episode would be, because the vendor's not sponsoring it, would be my S7 course over at theautomationschool.com. It's $199. You buy it once, you own it forever. And this fall, this winter, I'm going to be adding all these little S7 things you've been seeing me do, all the PROFINET things you've been seeing me do. I'm going to be adding formal lessons so we can ratchet up those professional development hours you get from taking this course. Now, if you're already a Siemens expert and you just want to see how to do the IFM integration, that's cool. You may have people who work for you who need this course. And I also do this course in person here, right in this office. Actually, on the other side of this wall here, I have a whole training room. I think you guys have seen pictures. You can go to theautomationschool.com/live to see what the training room looks like and to learn all about. We got like all the major hotels within 3 miles of my office. So it's a pretty cool place. We're only an hour out of Albany. Albany's a great airport to fly into. And of course, we can do custom courses. If you want to drive in, we can start later and then end later. And we could do all of that. So just get in contact with me. As you can see here on the top of the site, all my information's up there. But in any case, that is the sponsor for this show today. And now let's go over to VMware. I'm just going to look over there to make sure everything is working because this is a live stream. And again, say hi to everybody who's watching live. So here we are in TIA Portal, right? And so the first thing I thought I'd do is like we've done before is we just come over here and do update accessible devices. Now I'm just switched out my 1500 for a 1200 just because I wanted to switch it up. Maybe tomorrow I'll do the 1500 again. But there are some things I'm going to run into that are problems that I'm just going to go through it with you and show you how you get around them. So I said, oh, let's do an update accessible devices. Great. We see this new accessible device out there, which is very cool. And so, I can go on there and I'm going to give it a PROFINET name. That's kind of been our, our standard operations here if we've done all the different devices. So we'll call this an AL1302. I think I got the part number right here. We're going at the speed of live. So I'm just came in here at lunchtime and started streaming. In any case, and we have the RVP510 on this particular one. Okay, so I think I'm going to put in the MAC address. I think this is A0 for the last octet of the MAC address. So yeah, let's try that. That's a pretty long name, but I'll remember what it is. That's for sure. In any case, okay, we're looking down here. Device name assigned. I'm going to come back over here again and do update devices. And we should see it right there. There it is. Okay, great. Now, here's the fun part. Let's go to devices and networks like we would do with all the Siemens devices we did over the past weeks, right? And we're going to go ahead and do online, and we're going to do hardware detection, PROFINET devices from network. Okay, we'll go ahead and search for the devices, and it will find it because we saw it over here. So we already know it's on the network. All right, great. As long as it's plugged in, usually you won't have a problem. There's the last octet of the MAC address. Let's go ahead and add this. And in mere moments, we're going to get a message. Is it the message I think it's going to be? I hope it is. This is what happened at home. Unsuccessful. Why didn't it work? I was scratching my head at 4 o'clock this morning. It's like, what's going on? But it tells you right here, not all devices could be added to the project. Please see info general, blah, blah, blah. And down here it says, basically it doesn't exist in the hardware catalog. Okay, so yeah, this isn't a Siemens device, so that would make sense, right? Whatever vendor you're using, typically if you're using a third-party device, you got to bring in that, definition file, right? So I thought, well, let's go up here to options. Let's go up to manage GSDs. And I already downloaded everything. I actually brought in everything I downloaded this morning at home and put it in the downloads folder here. So let's hopefully go find it. I did find one thing though with the file download from IFM. It's like it's too long to extract to your C drive. It's like I had to rename the zip file before I could extract it. Haven't seen that very often. That's a very rare thing that they wouldn't test that before they made it available to download. Okay, so where am I going? Downloads. All right, IFM. Hopefully I copied everything I need. So this is the folder I had to really shorten the name of. There's the GSDs, and that's where looking for the folder. At first I'm like, where's the file? Ah, there it is. Okay, so now I said it's a 1302. Okay, so we'll grab that. And well, sometimes I click on there and I don't get the click. All right, let's do that. Let's install that. Now I was worried this would take a very long time. It actually took like 5 seconds. I know in some other ones, and again, I think this computer's, well, I don't know if this is faster or slower than the one I used at home. But in any case, I have had this taken, depending on the computer and the speed of the computer, I've had this taken, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 seconds. But in any case, we'll just let it go here. And in mere moments, we're going at the speed of live, computer. Well, maybe I'll take you out to the overhead cam here. We'll take a look at the unit a little bit closer. Okay, so no, I don't want that controller. I want this controller. Okay, so let's see if we can zoom in here. And I saw the corner of my eye. It has updated. So you can see here, I mean, this looks identical to the one we had for Rockwell that we covered previously. You can see I did reset it to defaults before starting the live stream. There's the model number AL1302. I think the Rockwell one was 1322. And let's see here. So we have PROFINET in, I think PROFINET out. We have power. This is an IoT port, which I think is so cool, dedicated just for IoT. And then 1, 2, 3. So we're in port 3 here. And then this is those, you guys probably seen the videos. If you haven't, you probably, you should go check them out. I really like this encoder. I'm going to try to get it. Yeah, $2.99. All right, great. So I covered how to integrate that with both Rockwell and Siemens. Multiple, I think we did the high-speed counter on the compact logics, control logics, and on the S712 and 1500. And just having this using it as a regular encoder, right? And not using it on IO Link. So we should be done over here on the PC. Let's head back over there. And this is the one I want, right? Yeah, okay. So many buttons. All right, let's see here. Hey, installation complete. Well, thank you very much. Close that off. And we're done there. Updating hardware catalog. I only would have known. So I don't have the live chat up. I don't know why it doesn't come up by default, but if you're chatting at me, I'll try to chat back after the show. But again, I'm doing Restream because with StreamYard, which I like to use, it doesn't do the OBS interface with multiple cameras very well. So in any case, yeah. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Okay, so you know what I want to do? Let me see if, oh, this guy I don't think is, yes, he is online. So what I want to do is, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go over to the IODD Finder. And the reason this is probably slow is because it's a virtual machine, right? And so ioddfinder.io-link.com. If you didn't see my interview with the IO Link folks, you should check that out on the Automation Podcast. Just I think a really forward-looking technology. And why would I want to sign into ioddfinder.iolink.com? Why would it do that? HTTP Oh, this guy doesn't have access. That's okay. So one of the things I have to do here, because I do training, is I don't always want to give access to the training computers. I want to make sure I type this right. There we go. So I don't want the training computers updating all the time, because how many times has Windows updates broken my software, whether it be Siemens or Rockwell or something else? So that I in the router, I don't let them access the internet, so they don't accidentally update. In any case, so what we're going to look for here is the RVP510. And while we're waiting for TIA Portal, there it is. Very easy to find. Almost everybody's devices have been in here so far. There was one that wasn't, but no big deal. I want to go to the IODD viewer, because what we're going to need to know when we set this up is how much data in and out it has, right? So this is IO-Link. We need to know how much data our IO-Link devices need. And we can see here that this encoder has 4 bytes in, okay, and no bytes out. If we look at the parameters here, right, we can see right here, these are different parameters, digital out, digital in, all kinds of good stuff. But let's see, process data structure. Okay, so here we go. All right, those are the outs. So this is the number we want. Okay, revolutions. That's what we're going to be going after. But I think there's some other bits in there. We'll take a look at that in a minute. So let's go back to TIA Portal. And it's all right. So we're good. That was added. So now let's do try online. Let's go to hardware detection. Whoops, select the PLC again. Thank you. Online, hardware detection, PROFINET, and search. And it should find it very quickly. We've already given it a device name. There she is. Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel bad I don't have the chat up, so I can't chat with you guys. But in any case, thank you for tuning in. Of course, this video will be available after the fact as well. And if you know anybody who needs S7 training, specifically 1200 and 1500, I had somebody ask me, do you do the S5? I'm like, the S5, isn't that really old? It is really old. That's like, I do not do the S5. Yeah, successful here. See, it was successful this time. Wasn't last time, but it is this time. Good, because we added it to the hardware catalog. Let's go back to devices and networks. Okay, there it is. Now, I'm going to do some things differently just because I love to know all the different ways of doing things. And, you know, we used to, in the previous videos, I just clicked and dragged and dropped. But this time I'm going to just go to not assign and assign it that way. Okay, I don't know if that's easier or more difficult, but it's nice to know you can do things different ways, right? And now, I want to give him an IP address because, you know, he's going to have some kind of default IP address. So let's double click right here. And we know the name, we already gave it, but now we want to give it the IP address. We've talked about this before. I think 221 is the next one I have available. Okay, we'll find out. And, you know, if you give it the PROFINET name, the PLC will give it its IP address, which is cool. Now, we're going to configure this differently than we did those other devices. And we're going to configure it over here, okay? And if you look over here on the right-hand side, can you see that? Let me move my headshot over here. There we go. All right, so over here in the top right in the catalog, you're going to see, well, first of all, over here we see all the ports. We're only using port 3, so let's go ahead and disable by dragging over disable and disable these other ports, okay? This is much different than using the tool we were using, right? And let's see here. Come on, baby. 4. Now, do I have to do this? Well, if I don't want to have any kind of red notices or errors, yeah, I kind of have to disable the ones I ain't using. Okay, so we'll just bring these over here. And this is something you'll do once, you know, and you can delete it too if you put a disable in. I actually put a disable in and then I had to delete it. Very easy to do. Just right click on it and delete it. Okay, and now we're going to tell it how much data we want in and out. And if you remember from that IODD Finder, when we looked at the IODD file, it had 4 bytes in, and it'll be plus the PQI, which is kind of diagnostics information. Let's go ahead and drop that right there. Excellent. All right. You can see the picture of information about the unit right here. 4 bytes plus PQI. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So that's cool, right? So we got that in there. I guess we could download it and test it. We're not going to be able to do much, but yeah, let me go ahead and save it. Yeah, I think I can just save it. Okay, great. Let me select the PLC. Let me download to it. Again, doing this all on the fly, and I got a cough again. Excuse me. Something about live when you get a cough, you just get a cough. Okay, let's see if we can find our 1200 out there. Looks like it found it. And of course, all these boards, as I've said before, all of these boards I've been showing you, they're all going to be available for those hands-on students who come into the office here. Okay, so let me load it in. Now, I've had some people, people come and they say, well, do you have a schedule of courses? What I'm really focused on right now is doing training for particular companies. At some point in the future, we'll have a regular schedule we put out there. But when I used to work as a distributor specialist, we canceled courses all the time because usually if you just put an arbitrary date on the calendar, people can't make it, right? A lot of people can't make it. And then you end up trying to, run people. And now we got an error here. Okay, so it compiled with an error. Let's see what happens. Password. Brand new file. I didn't do the password this time. Come on, puppy. Let's get in there. So I am using version 18. So if you're curious about that, and because it's a brand new file I just made, I didn't do that. So you got to do that. And I had pre-done that in a lot of the recent episodes. But you know what? Let's go ahead and compile this time. I like just downloading because it compiles for you. You don't have to worry about that. But in any case, let's see here. I can move the headshot back over there. All right. You guys have seen this area of the menu in previous videos many, many times. But just to keep it updated. Okay, let's go online. Excellent. All greens, I hope. Did I do everything right? No, something's wrong. What could it be? Okay, it's not finding it at all. Okay. Saying, hey, I can't find it at all. Now, I haven't used this F712 in a while. I'm wondering if there's 71200. So I gave him 192.168.1.221. I don't think there's a 221 out there, right? Let's update our accessible devices out there in the field. We know we get the name because we've read it in. We can see it out there on the network. I'm just going to go online with it to see if it is. Yeah, you know what? The PLC did not hand out the IP address. It does have the PROFINET name we gave it. So that should have happened for us. But you know what? Since we're alive, I'm just going to go ahead and add it in. Okay? Don't tell anybody. It was 221. Okay. Okay. So now it has the right IP address. It has the right name. And we will come over here. And again, this is what happens when you're doing things live. Sometimes everything doesn't work as smoothly as you want it to. Right? Everything's looking good. Okay. Let's see what the error is. You know what? Are we going to be able to get it to work? Nope. Still just not happy at all. Diagnostic status. Device not found. Well, we know it because we did the accessible devices. You know, I'm going to go back to what I was saying about this this particular CPU. I haven't used it in a while. I'm wondering if it has the wrong subnet mask. Ah, see that? It's not on the same subnet. There's a reason for that. The reason for what will be easier? Yeah, let's change the device. I think it'll be easier. I can do this on the fly. So I have so many Rockwell things that the 192.168.1 was full. So I've been moving all the Siemens stuff to 192.168.2. Okay. And I totally forgot that because at home I still do everything on 192.168.1. So let me go offline here. We'll go back here. Probably a quicker way to get to it. We'll go there. Okay. Whoops. Yeah. 2, please. Thank you. Excellent. Got to be on the same subnet. Okay. And the IP addresses have to be correct. The device in the field and what's in your program have to match. Okay. Now what's the problem? Overwrite, upgrade, stop, load. All right. Well, that was interesting. Yeah, 192.168.2. Okay. It's funny because I go back and sometimes I'll edit these videos and I'm like, how did I not see something, right? But you get such tunnel vision when you're live streaming, at least I do. You get such tunnel vision that it's easy to overlook those little things because you're talking, you're streaming. Oh, I'm seeing green. Isn't that great? I love it. I love it. Now, what addresses did it get? You know, what IO tag? Oh, no IO tags. But what addresses did it get? Well, we can see up here, right? 68. Okay, let's take a look at 68. So let me go into PLC tags here. We'll create some tags on the fly as well. What do I want to call these? Let's call them DIO AL1302. Let's do A0 RVP. We said 68, right? So we know we have 4 bytes. No, I didn't want you to be a bull. Byte. And the tab here. It's going to be IB68. Okay. And we got 4 of them. Okay. 1, 2. This is what I typically will pre-do for you guys before I come on, but there was no time to do that today. So we'll do 68, 69, 70. Whoops, that's not 70. 70 and 71. We got a great podcast coming out this afternoon with Copia, talking about AI and talking about DevOps and a big survey they did with customers. So if you guys check that out at 3:30, I think you guys will like that. And so there's my tags. Let's download those. Then we'll go create a watch table. So one thing, so I'm doing an online download. So one thing I would like to see is the ability to change the display. When you monitor it here, you can't, like, let me just do it. I'll just do it. So you see it's stuck in, it's like, why can't I change you can do it you can definitely do it in the watch table, but I want to do it right there in PLC tags. All right, so let's add a new watch table here. You guys still can see what I'm doing? Good, good. All right, go search for our PLC tags. Let's just grab them all. No, won't let me grab them all. Okay, and it grabbed number 4. All right, we can do this the old-fashioned way. and 4. Excellent. Okay, so let's see what these values are. Well, before I even do that, let me go ahead and change them to decimal. Always looking for the faster way to do these things. All right. How are we doing there? Let me save and let me monitor. Okay, now it's these two words that make up, let me put them in binary. Okay. The count. Okay. So here's the thing. It's shifted, and just for the sake of time, I'm not going to take you over to the manual from IFM to show you that. But these are shifted, right? These are shifted 2 bits. We got to shift it over by 2 bits, okay? Because the first 2 bits are like status bits, like output on, output off, whatever. So I'm just going to save time because that's taking a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I'm just going to ask you to believe me on that. And our goal here will be we want to make this a word because the value of the count is a word, if I remember correctly. And then we want to shift it over 2 places. So how are we going to do that? Well, I have an idea. At least this is what I did this morning. I'm going to go into the main program here. And so that's IB70. Well, we want a word, IW70, right? So let's go ahead and use the shift. Come on. Gotta hit that target. Okay, I think it's shift right. Let's try it. Whoops, not a plus. Okay, now you're just being funny. Must go faster, must go faster. You know what? I'm going to make a tag. Let me go ahead and create a new data block here. DB1. Yep, that's what I wanted. And I'm going to call this, we'll just call it encoder. And let's make it a word. Excellent. And the reason I did that was because I want that to be the output. Okay, there she is. All right, great. Now the input, of course, we're going to do, it has to be a word. We're going to just type it in here. Do the absolute address. I could have created a tag for it. I think it'll create a tag for me, actually. So what do we say, 70? Yeah, tag 1. But, you know, you're doing this fly. What do we want to do? We want to shift it to. N is how far you want to shift it over to. You got to make sure this says word. I ran into that issue. And because you want your bytes to line up straight. I don't know. Did I do everything right? We'll find out here in a minute. Let's go ahead and compile the whole thing. You know what? We'll just download. Let's download this. Let's see. There we go. It compiled it for me. No errors. Load it in. So doing an online runtime download. And okay, so let's go back to our watch table. Let's see if we get that information in correctly. Encoder, right? You know what? I forgot. Because it's on the data block. I gotta go there and then there. Okay, great. Hex? Heck no, I don't want it in hex. Decimal. 299. I think that's right, right? So let's go out here and we'll dial in another number. Can you guys see that okay? All right, 299. Let's do 523, 523, okay. Let's go back to the PC here. What do we have? 523. Success. So that was quite different than what we did before, right? As far as doing, first of all, this is an IFM IO-Link master sitting on PROFINET, right? So that's a lot different than what we did before. You can see all the stuff over there. That gets wheeled into the training room when we have a training class. And, you know, how we set it up was quite different than we did before with the tool. We didn't use the tool. And then, you know, how we had to arrange those words again. That's in the manual. Tomorrow, I'll be sure to show you when we do the temperature sensor on the other block that I show you. That one also needs to be offset by 2 bits. But in any case, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was a nice lunchtime live show to do. It's not Automation Tech Talk. I figure if I'm doing a hands-on demo, it should be the automation show, right? Because that's what I call my shows. So that's why this one isn't called Automation Tech Talk. This is the Automation Show Live, lunchtime edition. But in any case, I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope you find something valuable in there. Again, if you know anybody who needs training, please send them over to theautomationschool.com. We do online training and in-person training. When I say we, I mean me. And if you come to an in-person training class, you get the online course for free. If you already have the online course, you get a discount off the in-person class up to $200, depending on which course you bought, right? So in any case, that's all I have today. Again, great podcast coming out this afternoon. It's a little bit a longer one. There's actually 2 different parts on it. The first part talks about AI, and the second part talks about DevOps, and you know where people are seeing downtime and what's causing downtime. And so I just thought it was incredible. And I always like having the people from Copia on because they're great. And it's sponsored, so there'll be no commercials. So that's cool too. So with that, I hope this all came out. I told it to record on my computer just in case it didn't, so I still have a backup copy. But I just want to wish you all good health and happiness. And until next time, my friends, peace.